Another way that we can help the front-end user when it comes to inputting data into a field is by inserting an input mask, well, where applicable. What is an input mask? Well, we saw it in an earlier training video. As you recall, when we came down here, we clicked in the phone field and we just started typing in the number, how it brought up the parentheses. And then as we continued typing, the underscore or the line beneath it would disappear as we entered in the numbers. Well, that's an input mask. The definition of it is that it's a pattern for all data to be entered into, well, in this case, the phone field, where we want the 3-digit area code and then the rest of the phone number. If we didn't have that, and the user couldn't look up above to find any records, and they were starting from scratch, how would they know to enter in the area code or if that's what's required for the phone without that input mask there, those symbols? Let me go ahead and hit the escape key so I don't save this, and let's go ahead and set up the input mask for this field, the phone. Come up here, right click on the tab, go to the design view, come down here and select the phone field, and then down below it'll display its corresponding field properties. Click in its input mask cell, come over to the right and click its build button. When you click on it, well, there's nothing to build because it's already there. But we can go ahead and customize it. In other words, by default, this is what the data is going to look like. And you can try it. Come down here, click in it, and then just start typing. See how the underscore, let me finish that, how it had the underscore or underline, it disappeared when I continued typing until it was completely gone. So it told the front-end user that's all we need for this, and that's what we're looking for, the area code and the 7-digit number after it. Well, you can click Finish and that would be that, or you can customize it by clicking Next and saying, okay, I can change the coding up at the top, and we'll discuss that a little bit later, but like for example the exclamation point there allows the mask to be filled in from left to right as opposed to right to left. And then the placeholder character is the underscore. I can change that to the pound symbol, and let's go ahead and come down here and try it. Now if I click down here in the field, it's just like if the front-end user was using the mouse and clicked in the phone number field, wherever you click is where you're going to end up. And then it makes it challenging to go, oops, I need to come back over here. Instead, let me come back up here in the previous field, use the tab key to get to that next field, and then I can just go ahead and start typing. Ooh, the pound symbols, they look fancy. Let's go ahead and click Next. And then finally it says, how do you want to store your data? With symbols in the mask or without it? Now I found that when it comes to using the mask the wizard has, and it lists a few of them that you can choose from, that it will store it with the symbol even if you choose without it. And I'll show you that in just a second. But when you create a custom template, custom mask, I find that these actually live up to what they say. In other words, if I create a custom one for my employee ID, and I'll show you that in just a minute, if I choose without the symbols, the mask will pull up with the symbols there, but upon exit of that field and I continue typing in the rest of the fields, it'll display it like this and store it like that if I choose this option. Okay. So in other words, custom templates you create, this actually works. If you just use the default templates that we just saw, phone being one of them, it'll actually, even though if I select this, still display and store the symbols in the mask. So to show you that, I'll go ahead and say, don't store the symbols. Click Next, click Finish. So we know that the phone is not storing the symbols. Let's go ahead and do a custom one, the employee ID. Select it, come down here into its corresponding field properties, click on the input mask cell. Over to the right, click its build button. It's asking us to save it before we proceed. We'll say yes. Now, it's got a bunch of templates here. Employee ID wasn't originally one of them. Because I did that earlier on before I created this training video, it's stuck. In other words, there's no delete key. Access assumes that you can recycle, so if you want to use this for something else and rename it, then you can do that. In fact, you can go ahead and scroll down and see everything else that's available. Those are the default templates. The employee ID is the only one that I created from scratch, and let me show you how you do it. So let's pretend that it's not there. Just go ahead and click on the Edit button. When you click Edit, it'll have one of 4 records. Well, there's number 5 here because when I click at the end, keep going through to number 5, this is the one that I created. How did I create it? Well, I clicked on the new blank record and then I typed it in. Let me go back and show you what I did here. I typed in the name of the field, the description, employee ID, and then the input mask. I entered in some coding. For example, as you recall, the exclamation point there allows the mask to be filled in from left to right. Then the 2 capital L's are for entering in a single letter per L. And then zeros for single digits, those are required. If you don't have one in there in any part of your mask, it won't work. Now if you want to see if there are other codes that you can use for the input mask, just go ahead and while you're in there, that field input mask, hit the F1 key to bring up the help window. Let me go ahead and maximize it. And then type in up here, input mask. Now before I click the search button, by default it's going to search my computer, and I found that it doesn't pull up anything useful. So I'll go ahead and change the search by clicking on its drop down arrow and say that I want to search all of Access online from office.com and not just from this computer. You can see the default, the help on this computer. Choose All Access, so it's going to view all of Access online, and then go ahead and click the search button for the input mask. And there it is, Control Data Entry Formats with Input Mask. Click on it, brings up the page, scroll down, and there we go, the character and the explanation of it. So like 0, user must enter in a digit, 0 to 9, you can use 9 here. The L, user must enter in a letter, and then of course the exclamation point causes the input mask to fill form from left to right instead of from right to left. In any case, let me go ahead and close out. Down here, the placeholder, as we just saw, when we created our input mask for the phone field, instead of the underscore, we replaced it with the pound symbol. You can type in whatever character you want there. And then down here, it's going to have some sample data. It doesn't matter, it just has to be a sample. Because when I enter in my record, it's EE, but I put an EN. In other words, the two characters here have to be a letter, followed by, well, there's 0, a number, and then the dash is part of it, so it just goes over it, and then I can type in the other two numbers. Again, notice there's no delete button here, so if I'm done using this, then I just leave it. I just don't use it in any of my tables. But if I want to go ahead and create something else, instead of creating more and more, just go ahead and overwrite this, update it with, well, another input mask that you want to set up. Going to go ahead and close out, list it here, select it. I could click Finish and be done with it, or I could go back through, click Next, and say, well, I didn't really want the underscore, let me change that. Click Next. And then it says, of course, do you want to store this with the symbols or without? If I choose without, because this is a custom one, it'll have the symbols there when I start typing, but upon exit of that field, it will look like this, unless I choose Store with the symbols. Let me show you. We'll go ahead and click Next, click Finish. Both the phone and the employee ID fields are storing the data without the symbols. So let's go ahead and click on View. Be sure to save your work. Come down here and click in it. Go, well, click to the left here. And then type in EE1. And there's the mask. Looks fancy. And then upon exit, when I hit the Tab key, it stores it without the symbols there. Okay. Now when I come over to the phone field and I start typing in, and then I hit the Tab key, it stores it. What's the difference? This was the template that was already available, where this is something that I created from scratch. So hit the Escape key a couple of times, come back up here, click on the Design button. I can come back here and update this for the employee ID. Make sure that I have it selected up above so I can see it displayed down below. And then click on its Build button. And then be sure to select it again. Click Next, Next. We'll do it with symbols. Click Finish. You can see the code right there. Go ahead and click the View button. Be sure to save your work. Let's go ahead and type it in. EE135 Tab. Upon exit, there we go. It actually stores it. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.